to fix it quick and easy. Available at Paint Warehouse or any leading hardware store.
The Honest Truth met Benito Vergotine.
Smile 90.4 FM.
Joining us this evening to elaborate into how neglected teacher well-being undermines learner success and why greater support is critical is teacher coach at the Jakes Gerwel Fellowship, Londiwe Majola. Ms. Majola, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Good evening, and thank you so much for having me.
No, a pleasure. This time of the year is often described as a silent exam for teachers. How do you see teacher stress mirroring learner stress during the matric exam season?
Absolutely. Teachers are going through their own difficult time this time of the year, in between setting the exam papers, chasing for moderation, deadlines, trying to finish the syllabus. Some teachers are even offering weekend classes just to try and complete the syllabus, and not forgetting, the piles and stakes of marking that they have to take home and complete through the course of the night. So it's a very stressful season for the teachers.
And what are the main causes, in fact, pushing teachers to their breaking point right now?
Most of them, they mention the word fatigue. They are physically drained because of, the hours they've been putting in throughout the year. But also there is mental and emotional toll that is, taking place now with the teachers.
I would imagine so, on also just given their multiplicity of roles, motivator, parental figure, social worker, therapist, and yes, also a teacher to get through quite a demanding curriculum. How serious is this burnout crisis among teachers, Londiwe?
It is a big issue. It is a big issue, especially for new teachers. These are the teachers who are, some of them newly qualified, or teachers who are in the classroom for the first time. They sit between the pressure of wanting to have a perfect career in such a way that they want to be perfect teachers, and yet they are being exposed to some of these realities for the first time. So this then becomes huge. And as I mentioned, it then contributes to emotional stress that they face. And because of overworking themselves, sometimes it also leads to them just being depleted physically, and this results in the burnout that we are talking about.
Joining us in conversation this evening on The Honest Truth is a teacher coach at the Jakes Gerwel Fellowship, Londiwe Majola, joining us in conversation, putting the spotlight on the teacher workload, the overwhelming workload, the lack of support, the inadequate resources, in fact, which is precipitating a teacher burnout. Teacher unions, in fact, have also warned that the education system is in crisis, with burnout threatening the quality of education and teacher wellness. And despite some programs being launched for teacher well-being, many educators still feel abandoned and under-supported, especially during this critical period. Do share your thoughts and join us on 0829 904 904. In terms of that link from burnout to outcomes, how do these unacknowledged teacher struggles, Londiwe, affect learner outcomes, particularly now in a grade 12 situation?
The phrase that I use with my coaches is that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So if teachers are overwhelmed and they are tired, this is going to reflect in their teaching, which means they won't be giving the best quality of teaching to their learners. And this goes for everything else, including the quality of marking. So if teachers are not supported, and by supported, I mean having a holistic support in their professional development, it can negatively impact how they show up in class, and this can be seen in the learner outcomes.
So where then are school leaders maybe missing the mark in supporting teacher well-being? What practical changes do you feel, and also given your experience as a teacher coach, could make a difference?
There's a number of things that can be done, but I also don't want to take away the fact that even the senior management of the schools, they have their own different kinds of stresses. And I think this is where we then need to collaborate. So a coach, for example, becomes that mirror for a teacher because, for example, with my coaches, I use a reflective practice to help them reflect on their teaching. But in addition to that, we can also have mentors who are school-based, or we can have mentors that are outside, the school where the teacher is teaching, supporting or journeying with this new teacher so that they have someone whom they can, be accountable to, someone they can freely speak of the challenges they're experiencing. Because what I've noticed with the teachers I work with is that they don't want to appear incompetent. So they bottle up all this pressure that is coming in different forms, coming from the head of the department, from the principal, and mostly, the grade 12 teachers, the matric teachers, they feel it the most because the school pass rate is somehow linked to their competence. So their competencies. So if the teachers are not doing well, that can be, a negative reflection of their teaching and so on. So all of this pressure going to this one person and not having someone that they can share it with and strategize in how, they can do better or in how they can just deal with the stress is also something that we can look into doing.
Teacher coach at the Jakes Gerwel Fellowship, Londiwe Majola, joins us this evening. You're welcome to share your thoughts too on 0829 904 904, particularly if you are a teacher. Are you feeling the stress, particularly at this time of the year? And how much of a challenge, in fact, is teacher well-being? That's the spotlight this evening on The Honest Truth, how neglected teacher well-being undermines learner success. Londiwe, how could teacher assistants also be used to relieve some of the academic and emotional pressures on teachers?
So if they can undergo some form of training, teachers are experiencing so much pressure when it comes to administrative duties. So if these teacher assistants are properly trained in terms of how they can assist the teachers, I think that will relieve them from so much pressure and they'll be able to focus on teaching and improving the learner outcomes. So a training, just basic training for the teacher assistants might be of great help.
I would imagine that would have to be driven from the department's point of view. From the department, and from the departments, what how have they initiated various steps to improve teacher support?
Interesting question. I know that the department has an induction program that has been implemented for quite some time now. So that induction program is set to help newly qualified teachers or new teachers to develop their competencies and to be able to deal with these stresses. And I think the department is also partnering with a number of organizations, such as the Jakes Gerwel Fellowship, to help, with providing this holistic professional development for teachers.
Notwithstanding those organizations who can play a key role, other stakeholders include parents and communities. What role can they play as well to better support teachers?
There's a number of things we can do to support teachers and the education system in general. The one is changing the languaging. Teachers are sometimes seen as superheroes, forgetting that they are also human beings. They feel the pain. They also go through life as much as we all do. So just changing how we speak of teachers, speak of the profession, I think can do a lot of change in terms of how we view this profession. And I am taking this from the number of posts I've been seeing on social media, which undermines the profession in its entirety. So community, parents, different organizations, if we can come together and just uphold this important profession, I think that it can be a start.
Important and noble profession because it's equipping young minds for the future. It's building society. Coaching clearly does play a pivotal role, as you described there, Londiwe. But how can we move from one-to-one coaching to possibly systemic nationwide interventions?
Very interesting. Those are the conversations that are currently happening within the Jakes Gerwel Fellowship. talking about scale. However, we do need to move to a large group of teachers because coaching, we've seen that it works on one-on-one. So perhaps group coaching, workshops can be, done at district levels to help a large number of teachers at a given point, just so that we scale the strategy that have been used, and we've seen that it works given our data.
Scaling the strategy implies that that if we don't, there are greater risks. Given the current teacher attrition, what do we risk if we don't provide adequate and ongoing support to our educators?
Teachers are just going to leave the profession. They will leave the profession and go to other countries. We've seen that happening, but they will leave the profession if they are not being supported. So it's quite important that we really start focusing on supporting teachers, especially in their early years of teaching.
It is absolutely critical. And lastly, Londiwe, do you sense this? Do you get a sense of urgency from policymakers in addressing this?
Yes, I think there's work that is being done. There are a number of policies that have been introduced, the latest one being the Bella Act. So I think the policymakers are aware of the challenges that the education system is going through, and they are trying to also come up with policies that are going to help make things better.
Teacher coach at the Jakes Gerwel Fellowship, Londiwe Majola. If educators want to get in touch with you, Londiwe, what is the best way? How can they follow you?
I am on LinkedIn as Londiwe Majola.
Thank you so much, Londiwe. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Much appreciated.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Smile.
Smile.
I put it very loud in my car every day.
90.4 FM.